Reaper's March Lore, Part 2. Littermates of Darkness by Moon Bishop Hullo. Anew, to speak of the dark gamble of the Drothma. Wax. When true cats die, their souls are lifted by Kanathi and flown to the suns behind the stars to play and pray until the next pounce. When bent cats die, their souls are dragged down by Mira into the dark behind the world to serve the heart of Lokaj until their tails are straight. Full. These then become the dancers in the dark, where they whirl no music but the beating of the heart. Sometimes these dances seep up through the cracks to near me, to the moonlight world, and walk among us as if made of moonless night. Then we call them Drothma, and this is a name of fear. For a true cat to see a Drothma, to do the bent dances, to feel his tail twitch in time, and to feel the pull of the darks. As each twitch pulls the true cat further from the moon's night light, the cat's shadow grows longer and more bent, and if the tide of the dark grows greater than the tide of the lights, then the true cat is lost and becomes a bent cat. Then comes the true peril, for a Drothma can twist out of a bent cat's soul and send it through the cracks into the darks. Once it hears the beating of the heart, it too will dance bent. It is hard to stop. One night all the villagers of Lorn were found dancing the bent dance. Now we do not go there. Wayne, to banish the Drothma, there are two ways, the ways of Jone and the ways of Jord. Warriors use the ways of Jone, which is to unsheathe the claws and strike the darkness until it is no more. And this way is a good way for everyone who is strong of heart and claw to use it. Priests use the way of Jone, which is to bathe the light in the moonless, dark in the bright lunar field. And this way is a better way, for bent spirits, thus banished, do not return. Master Zorian's Tale, Part 1, by Ginath. The Temple of the Two Moons Dance in Torval has for many hundreds of years been the finest training ground in all Tamriel for warriors of foot and fist. The masters teach the students of all ages from all parts of Tamriel the most ancient techniques and the most modern variations, and many a former pupil has graduated to great fame. I myself trained there, and as a young child I remember asking my first master, Zorian, which former student he felt had best learned the lessons of the temple. I was not the teacher when I met this man, but a student myself, he said, smiling in reminiscence, his great wrinkled face becoming even more like the withered fruit of the bathroom tree. This was long ago, before your parents were born. For many years I trained at the temple, rising to study in more difficult and demanding classes taught by the wisest and most learned masters of the Two Moons Dance. Ginath, you will come to understand that in the tempering of your body, you must attend to the tempering of your mind. And there is a prescribed order of training that we at the temple have designed over the years in concordance with the way of the Riddle Than. I had reached the highest level, where my power and skill were such that even by supernatural, magical means, few could ever best me in weaponless combat. There was a servant at the temple at the time, a Donma, a few years older than myself and those in my class. We had never noticed him, but in passing over the years, he would enter the training chambers quietly, clean for a few minutes' time, and leave without saying a word. Not that we would have listened if he had spoke, so enwrapped were we in our exercises and lessons. When our last master told some of us, myself included, that the time had come for us to leave the temple or to become teachers, there was a great festival of celebration. The man himself disdained to visit and observe our ceremony. As we were and are temple of philosophy and combat, there were contests of debate and competitions in the temple's war arena, not only among the elite few, but open to all students. On the first day of the festival, I was examining the gladiatorial roster to see who I would fight with first, when I heard a conversation behind me, the servant speaking to the archpriest of the temple. It was the first time I had heard the Dunman's voice, and the first time I had heard his name. "I understand you wish to rejoin your people's circle in Morrowind, Taran," the archpriest was saying. "I am sorry to hear it. You have been an institution here for many, many years, and you will be missed. If there's anything I can do for you, please name it." "I thank you for your kindness," the Dunman replied. "I do have a request, but I fear you would be loath to grant it. Ever since I first came to the temple, I've been watching the students learn and practice myself when my duties allowed for it. I know I am but a servant here, but I would be honored if you would allow me to compete in the war arena." I stifled my gasp at Amar's impertinence to even suggest that he would be worthy to fight with us, who had trained so hard. And to my surprise, the archpriest agreed, adding the name Taran Omanth to the register at the beginner's level. I was eager to whisper the news to my fellow elite students, but my first bout was scheduled to begin in a few minutes' time. Master Zorian's Tale, Part 2, by Githnath. I stifled my grasp at the Mer's impertinence to even suggest that he would be worthy to fight with us, those of us who had trained so hard. To my surprise, the archpriest agreed, adding the name Taran Omanthan to the roster at the beginner's level. I was eager to whisper the news to my fellow elite students, but my first bout was scheduled to begin in a few minutes' time. I fought 18 competitions in a row, besting all. The crowd gathered in the arena. They knew of my prowess and gave polite, unsurprised applause at the end of each fight. As much as I focused on my own battles, I could not help noticing that the other competitions were receiving more and more attention in the arena. The spectators whispered among themselves, and more began drifting away to see something that was evidently more spectacular and unusual than my unbroken string of victories. One of the most important lessons we teach from the Two Moons Dance is the lesson of rejecting one's vanity. I understood then the importance of achieving personal synchronicity with one's body and mind, of rebuffing the outside influences of no importance. But I had to admit I had not accepted the lesson in my heart. I knew I was good, but my pride was hurt. It came down to a contest of champions, and I was one of the two. When I saw who the other fighter would be, my mood turned from one of wounded dignity to complete disbelief. My adversary was the servant, Taran. It must be a joke, or some final philosophical test, I reasoned. And then I looked into the crowd and saw the anticipation of a great battle to come in every eye. We gave one another the sign of respect, I stiffly and he with great elegance and modesty. The fight began. Initially, I sought to end it quickly, still thinking that he was unworthy to be cleaning the arena, let alone to be fighting in it. In retrospect, I was being illogical, as I must have known he had bested as many students as I had to reach to the final level. He offered me simple counterblows to my attacks, and responded in kind. His style was expansive, encompassing. Sophisticated arcane footplay one moment and simple jabs and kicks the next. I tried assailments intended to dazzle, but his face never showed either fear or contempt of my abilities. The fight, it lasted for a long time. I don't recall when I realized I was destined to lose, but when it ended, I was not surprised at the outcome. With a sense of unusual and true modesty, I bowed to him. But I could not resist asking him as we left the arena, to the sound of thunderous applause, how he had so secretly grown to become a master. I had never had a choice to rise in the temple, Taran replied. Every day I cleaned the training chambers of the elite classes, and then the beginners. So, you see, I never had the misfortune to forget the early mistakes. lessons and techniques while observing and learning the ways of the masters. He left Torval early the next morning to return to his homeland, and I never saw him again, though I've heard people say that he's become a priest and a teacher. I became a teacher as well, for children just beginning their training at the Two Moons, as well as the elite, and I make certain to bring my best pupils to see how the unlearned fight, so that they may never forget. I hope you've been enjoying these lore readings, and if you have, please do consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching.